Hello everybody, this is DeanoGTO, and this is going to be some gameplay of the WZ132, the Tier 8 Chinese light tank. Currently the top tier light tank in 9.17.1, and this is still 9.17.1, I should just make that clear, so the gun handling on this thing here is significantly better than will be next patch. So, yeah. This thing here for me, for a long time, when I was grinding it, my opinion on this thing was, this thing is basically the monster gun handling tank. Like, if you want something with good gun handling, you pick this thing here, because the gun handling on this thing here is pretty much perfect. Like, there's no other real way, like, you can't really say it's not, honestly, like, some of the best gun handling in the game, because it's just like, it just hits where you aim consistently. It doesn't really have much issues, and typically when you miss, it is actually your fault. It's not the tank's fault, because the tank's gun handling is just good enough to do shit like this. I mean, like, the gun is just so consistent. It's so goddamn good. And also the speed of the tank's not bad. It's a 64. 64, I believe, is either the same speed as the new Tier 10 that's coming out, or it's just a little slower. So mobility is not bad on this thing. It's just the power to weight ratio isn't the greatest. It's okay, but it's not the greatest. I think this thing right now has a 520 horsepower engine. I can't remember what it gets next patch, but it's definitely more power than it has now. So yeah, this thing is pretty quick. The gun handling is really nice, and I'm just kind of curious to see what the Tier 9 plays like. And honestly, that is my main reason for playing this thing right now. I'm grinding up XP to unlock the Tier 9 WZ132A. I'm just slowly grinding up the XP, and yeah, I'm just kind of rushed into a situation just behind this T-44. I'm just going to blast him away. Now, I'm just run around the map, just exploiting like what little weaknesses I spot in the enemy lines. So I'm just running around like a lunatic essentially. There's a Death Star right there. I put a shot into him and run like fuck, because I know for a fact the Death Star can one-shot me with ease, even with splash damage. So here's a T-34. T-34 I don't really fear that much, because I know for a fact that my teammates, if I fuck it up, will kill him, because his turret's going to be turned. Take another shot into him. So I am definitely going to do 2 shots of damage to him every time he does 1 shot of damage to me with ease. So, see, put another shot into him, put a shot in his tracks, and now he's going to be exposing the side of his turret to my allies, so I'm just going to put another shot into his drive wheel. I'm going to get 1 more shot into his ass, and then I'm going to have to just fuck off, although my teammates just killed him. So, yeah, that was a pretty solid way to kill a T-34 with relative ease. Now, let's see, just going to move around here, and there is an M53, M55 over there. Can I get a shot into him? Unfortunately not. I don't think I managed to kill that guy as far as I remember, but yeah. You can overall see like the versatility of this tank, and honestly I think that's going to be the main trend of the Chinese light tanks in 9.18. They're going to be kind of versatile, but they're going to sacrifice the gun depression, because that's typically how tanks with bad gun depression are. They have really, really good like overall handling. The only real weakness they have is the gun depression. Like, that's how the T-54 handles. Like, the T-54 is great in every respect except the gun depression. Like that's honestly, that's part of the reason why I don't mind playing tanks with bad gun depression, because typically they make up for it in a lot of other ways. So I'm on 3,000 damage right now in a Tier 8 light tank in a Tier 10 game, so I'm doing pretty well. And there's T-54 mod 1, and at this point I realized, oh shit, I'm on really low health. Should probably not fuck around with this guy, but I know for a fact I'm probably going to reload before him, but I don't want to risk it, apparently. So T-54 mod 1, I'm looking at the map right now, and I'm seeing he is actually moving forward down towards me. So I'm kind of thinking, like, how do I do this here? Do I risk it? And my brain says yes, apparently. So take a first shot at him. I tried to track him there, but didn't go there. It didn't go well. So that was actually exactly average roll. And take another shot into him. He misses, and I track him in place. And I either kill. Yeah, he just fired there, so I'm probably going to be the one to kill him, or not. He just angled just enough to punch my shot. That's annoying, but yeah. On 3 kills, done 3,600 damage, 1,200 spotting, and just going to zoom around the map now, just like hoping for the best. And see what I mean? This thing's gun handling, it just puts shots where you aim them. Like, if you, like, in 9.17.1, if you miss a shot, it's probably your fault. It's not typically the tank's fault. So, like, this thing, honestly, in 9.17.1, was pretty much like the best brawler light tank. But, in 9.18, it's to be determined like what it's going to play like. Because I think the main thing for the Chinese light tanks in 9.18 is the alpha damage. So yeah, just gonna finish it off. Just gonna sit in the water because I know for a fact I'm not going to drown. So yeah, overall in 9.17.1, really fast tank, a really good tank. Very good all rounder. As I said, the only real weakness is the gun depression. I'm really looking forward to the tier 10 Chinese light tank, and I'm honestly I'm trying to grind. I'm going to, I think it's 130,000 XP you need to move from this thing to the tier 9. So I'm going to slowly grind that XP up. I'm on about 30,000 right now. So I have like a week until 9.18 comes to the EU server. So I'm going to try and play this thing along with the 110 and trying to get the tier 8 grinds for the most part finished on the Chinese line, because I'm finished the T34 2 grind. I have the WZ120 unlocked. I'm just not going to play it until I have the tier 10 heavy unlocked. So yeah. Overall, I think it was a pretty decent game. Shows like the versatility of the tank, just the raw ability of the tank, just to, like brawl and stuff. 4 kills in that game as well. So overall, I think it was a pretty nice game. Just what was the thing I was going to say there? Just I wonder how this thing is going to play in 9.18. I didn't actually fire a single prem round in that game because I didn't really need to. I just found myself just in situations where I was able to get side shots and stuff. And honestly, that was the main like role of light tanks in 9.17.1. They were mainly just like you took shots where you got where you could find them, and you were very good at exploiting gaps in the enemy lines. Like I spotted the gap in the middle, like, and I kind of like circled around, killed that T44, and then circled around T34, killed T34 because he was on his own. I couldn't circle the T34 very well because he was up against a wall, so I did take a couple shots dealing with that guy, but it worked out in the end, so I'm not worried about it. So yeah, overall pretty solid game. So yeah, let's go on to the post game stats. Alright, so this was an Ace Tanker game. I finally got me Ace Tanker. As you can see, it has like a little special thing underneath the M that tells you it was the first time you ever got it. Yeah, I never managed Aces before apparently, but I got nearly 1500 base XP in this thing here because it's tier 8 tank in a tier 10 game. Now, light tanks won't be capable of that sort of thing. Well, there'll still be potential for them to do that sort of thing, but they won't be as frequently able to get top of the team for just doing 3700 damage. So, actually no, wait, thinking about it, considering the way light tanks have been nerfed on the test server, I don't think that actually, yeah, thinking about it, I don't think they're going to be consistently able to do like XP scores they got there. They're more reliant on spotting these days, and we all know how relevant spotting is. I mean, I did pretty much no spotting in that damage. I had 1300 spotting, and I think the majority of that was tracking damage. I mean, come on. So yeah, the light tanks next patch, they're going to be interesting. I suspect they're going to be underpowered for a couple patches, and then they'll eventually have to buff them up to some sort of like reasonable grade. The issue with that is though, because all of the all of the people who spend money on the game are probably going to rush down the light tank lines and go straight to the tier 10s and use a shit ton of free XP on that. There's going to be a lot of probably decent or good players playing them for a while, which means that it's going to take a while for the people who are kind of like mid tier, if that makes sense, in terms of like their ability to play the game, to get up to them, and then after that, after the stats are brought down from the like unicums and the shit planet. After the stats come down from that then they'll probably have to buff the tier 10 light tanks, because right now they are not they're not very competitive. They're kind of there. Like the Sheridan doesn't really, they didn't really nerf that much on the Sheridan as far as I can recall. On the WZ132, one will probably still be usable. I don't mind the alpha damage reduction that they did to the light tanks. It's just I wish they'd kind of compensated them a bit in terms of rate of fire. And now that they've kind of reversed for the most part their ammo count reductions, I think that was a good move, but I still think they need to increase the rate of fire on the tier 10 light tanks, because the tier 10 light tanks, their reloads are a bit too long. The 1321, I think, is the only one that I think has kind of an appropriate reload. I suspect you'll probably be able to get it down to like, let's say, about 9.5 seconds, 9 seconds, which is pretty good for that type of tank. I mean, that's faster reload than the Centurion 7.1, so that's decent enough reload, especially for something so small and fast. So, yeah. So that's just my general opinions on the light tanks, and I'm honestly kind of curious to see what this thing plays like in the next patch. I have a feeling that like all the other light tanks have gotten nerfed in terms of accuracy and stuff, because that just seems to be the trademark thing of light tanks now. They're just terrible accuracy. Um, in terms of playability, I'm really curious to see how these things turn out, because right now in this patch, this thing here is the firing on the move tank. It's pretty much like the best light tank in the game, firing on the move. But next patch, I'm curious to see how that turns out, because as I think I mentioned earlier, the Chinese light tanks are pretty much the alpha damage line, because I mean, like, the WZ132A gets a 320 alpha gun at tier 9, and bear in mind the what's it called, the T100 doesn't even get 320 alpha gun at tier 10, and only gets 300. And the other light tanks, the German, the Sheridan and all, they all only get 360 alpha now. And as I said, I don't really mind that too much. I just kind of wish they'd compensated it with a bit more rate of fire instead of just reducing the alpha flat out. So that kind of sucks in my opinion. But yeah, I guess we'll see how it turns out. I suspect in a couple patches they will probably need to buff them to make them a bit more competitive in terms of like guns and stuff. But for now, we're going to be kind of stuck with these kind of mediocre variants of the vehicles. So yeah. So let me know what your opinions on these vehicles are. Let me know, have you owned the WZ132? What did you think of it? Are you grinding towards the WZ132A in preparation for it coming out in patch 9.18? Like, I think there's like a week left until it comes out on EU, so I'm going to use that week to try and like just grind up XP and get the tank up to tank up in terms of XP and get like, I'm hoping to get to like maybe 50,000, so like pretty much half the grind done. So yeah, I'd be curious to know like what everybody else's opinion on this vehicle is. So so thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one.